Back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can take actions on an individual contact, or indeed edit that contact. So you start off by going to one of your lists where your leads exist and finding the person you want to correspond with. So I'm going to choose Susie Homebuyer and click on her phone number here. And you can see a number of tabs up top. The summary just shows her data fields, information about her, tells you how many total contacts you've had with her on these different channels. You can specify the time zone, Eastern Standard, and so that way you can see that it's currently 2:44 a.m. In Susie's time zone. And then down at the bottom here, you can select a default number. So if you had multiple Twilio numbers in your account, one of which is in Connecticut and one of which is in Wyoming, and when you corresponded with Susie, you only wanted to be corresponding with her on the Connecticut number, you could use this pull down to choose from among your many lines. So and I've only got one line, so that's why you're only seeing one here, but I'll select that. And that's to prevent confusion. So all of your Wyoming leads are speaking to you on a local number. Likewise, if in a later video you'll learn how you can create sub-users. If you have employees or sales team, agents, you can assign Susie to a sub-user with this pull down right here. And then at the very bottom, you can see all the lists which Susie exists on right now. So I just changed this here, so I'm going to hit save and proceed along these tabs up top. The inbox is where you would see all the correspondence back and forth between you and Susie. And indeed, you can manually initiate any of these things right here at the bottom of this panel. So if I wanted to send an SMS to Susie from my training demo line, I could type one in right here. And if it's a frequently used message, you can even save it as a template and reuse it. So if I say view up first name with a question mark and send that right away, it's going to send a text message to Susie right now. And you'd be able to see, if I remove this out of your way, in our correspondence, there's the message that I sent her, and it inserted her first name. And if I go over here on another browser window that you can't see, I can actually see the message that was just sent to Susie, and I will go ahead and reply. Okay, so over in my other window, I'm going to type in a response. Sure thing, and I'll send that. And then if I refresh, sometimes it takes a moment for it to appear over here. There it is. You can see I sent her this message, and then a moment or so later, she replied back with sure thing to my training demo line. Likewise, I could make a phone call right now in the browser. Select the phone line. Again, I only have one. And I could make a live call right now, which, let's try that. So you hear that jingle, and I got Susie's line configured to not accept calls, so that's why it was automatically rejected. But you can select a disposition. You'll learn about this in a later video, but let's say I preset a couple of these. Yeah, I left a voicemail, or we spoke, or we scheduled an appointment. But optionally, you could put one of those on there. I could send her an IVR, an outgoing IVR, which is otherwise known as a Robo Call. When you get a call from a robot that's saying press 1 for this, press 2 for that, you select from one of your pre-made IVRs, and you can send an outgoing one to her. Or a ringless voicemail if you record a piece of audio, which you will learn about in a later video. You can then choose from among your ringless voicemails. And Sales Bridge, again, you'll learn about that in a later video. I could send Susie an email, either from a template or just a brand new one. Test email, and I'm manually going to type in here, hey, F name, here's an email, and I could scroll down and send that email. And now, when I minimize this pane, I can see there's the voice message that I left Susie, or rather, it's the recording of the call that did not connect. And if I refresh in a moment, you'll see the email that I just sent her will also show up. There it is. Sub test email. Hey, Susie, here's an email. And if Susie replied from her email address, it would likewise show in this correspondence over here. So this is like a unified thread of all the different channels that we're speaking to this particular contact on. Notes, if I wanted to take a private note, which would not be visible to Susie, it's just for me. You know, Susie is a VIP client. I could drop a note in there, and I could see all my notes. So if you were coordinating perhaps with other agents and you wanted to pass along information to the next person who's going to be the one calling Susie, this can be a helpful feature. Or even for yourself, it's been several weeks since I last corresponded with Susie, so it's nice to remind myself. Lists are where you can see all the lists that you want to add Susie to. So right now, she's only on my training demo list, but if I had more than one, and I went ahead and created a second one called First-Time Homebuyers, I'm going to add her to that, and then you'll see that she was successfully added to my First-Time Homebuyers list. She was already in my training demo list, and the system itself, the software, Spectate Marketing, we create a list of our own called validated numbers. So every time you successfully have correspondence back and forth with somebody, we note that and create our own list available to you called validated numbers, which you can keep or delete as you see fit, but there it is. Campaigns are where you can create, and you'll learn this in a future video, a whole sequence of actions. Perhaps a voicemail followed 2 minutes later by a text message, followed an hour and a half later by an email. If you had a follow-up sequence, even if it stretched out over days and weeks to nurture your lead, by sending them emails and various different correspondences on different platforms, you could build out a whole campaign, which, like I said, I'll show you in a subsequent video. But you could add them to a campaign here or see which campaigns they're already in and how much their progress is. And then the last tab here for Scheduler is where you can do some of the same things that we did over here in the inbox. Oh, and here's my note. This again is visible only to me. Susie's not going to see this, but this is just a note for me that I added. Much like we were making these calls in real time using the function buttons at the bottom of this tab, over in the scheduler, you can schedule a future action. So if I want to send her an SMS tomorrow, I could choose the phone line I want to do it from. If I had created multiple templates, which I'll show you in a future video, of like a frequently used text that I send people all the time, I could choose from among my templates here. You want to choose your day and time. It's a leap year, so today's the 29th of February. Probably don't want to schedule it in AM, maybe PM is a little more humane. And here's my text message. Hey, F name, just touching base. How's it going? And by scheduling it now ahead of time, while it's on your mind, you can see on the 29th at 3 p.m., there's a yellow indicator here showing that on that date you got a text message that's going. That's calendar view. You can also see it in list view. And here's my scheduled message and when it's scheduled to go through. You can also schedule a call, either a piece of recorded audio that I'm going to upload, a pre-recorded audio that I've already uploaded. So if you have a frequently used piece of audio that you send to people, we can save that as a template and you can choose from among them. I could schedule out one of those outgoing IVRs, one of those outgoing menus. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. In other words, a Robo Call, I like to call them. Or I could record an audio with my built-in widget right here. Hey, Susie, just thought I'd drop you a voicemail here and see how things are going, and if there's anything I can help you with. All right, you have a great day. So there's my audio. I'll play it back. Hey, Susie, just thought I'd drop you a voicemail here. So there we go. Selecting the line you're going to send it from and selecting the date. Maybe I'll send this one on March 3rd, a couple of days later in the PM once again. And I'll create that follow-up. And now on my list view, You're seeing both the text message that she's going to get from me tomorrow, or rather today, and you're going to also see the voice recording that she's going to get a few days later. And you can schedule an email in the same way, using all these same keywords, sort of like merge fields, inserting her name, her last name. And that's helpful, if you're using the same template over and over again with lots of people, the system will automatically plug in their appropriate information. So those are all the individual actions you can take on a contact. One thing I neglected to show you, at the top next to her name, you'll have these left and right arrows where you can scroll through all the leads on this list. Whoops, I think I did want to talk to Leslie. There I go. I go back to her, and here's the information I have for her. So if I go all the way to Susie, on my inbox, this is my unified inbox where I can see all my correspondence with her. I can send her stuff live. I can schedule stuff out, add her to campaigns. Many of those features you'll see in subsequent videos. All right, so we'll end this one and catch you in the next video.